To understand David's reign, look at this map. Ancient Israel was under constant siege, hemmed in by the Philistines, Moabites, Arameans, and Edomites. God promised him rest from all enemies, yet the geopolitical reality was hostile borders aggressively pressing inward. This creates a tension between a divine word of peace and the violent, dust-choked reality of the Bronze Age. David's subsequent military campaign functions as the active execution of that divine promise. These battles represent the unfolding of a rescue plan designed to establish the security God had already decreed. Divine sovereignty often moves through human action. For David, establishing a holy kingdom required the active removal of the threats that had destabilized Israel for generations. The campaign moves fast. David subdues the Philistines and breaks the power of the Syrian kings. The record repeats a single defining fact: the Lord gave David victory wherever he went. When the focus shifts to Moab, the war becomes more personal and more severe. Jewish tradition suggests the Moabites had betrayed David by killing his parents, an act that explains the uncompromising nature of his judgment. David forces the captured Moabite soldiers to lie flat on the earth. He uses a coarse rope to measure them. He applies a strict mathematical judgment. 2/3 of the men on that line are marked for execution. Only the final 1/3 of the line is spared, preserved to become servants of the kingdom. This physical division is a typology mirroring a spiritual process. Prophets described Moab as people settled in complacency, like rotting wine. By cutting away 2/3, David enacts Zechariah's refining process, removing the majority so a purified remnant survives the fire. Following these victories, a massive influx of gold, silver, and bronze from the Arameans and Edomites flows into Jerusalem. In the ancient world, this wealth usually fueled a king's personal luxury or his political ambitions. David makes a radical departure from that precedent. He redirects the entire spoils of war to the Lord. He consecrates these pagan riches, stockpiling them to fund the future blueprint of the temple. David treats every victory as a resource for worship. He ensures that the wealth of nations ends up glorifying the God who provided the strength to win it. Military conquest only matters if justice is at the center. Once borders are secure, focus shifts to the inner workings of the throne itself. David builds a cabinet of recorders, priests, and secretaries. He uses this administrative structure to protect the vulnerable and ensure that God's equity and righteousness are felt by every citizen in the land. This subduing of the Philistines, Israel's most persistent enemy, prompts a look at our own lives. We often face patterns of sin or weakness that seem as permanent as those ancient borders. These require the same decisive conquest rather than a strategy of perpetual avoidance. It forces a question regarding how we use our own influence. In our workplaces and families, we are challenged to use our authority to serve others with fairness, echoing the administrative justice David established in Jerusalem. Beyond the personal application, David's reign provides a map for the future. His Bronze Age kingdom is the primary blueprint for a much greater reality. David's defeat of physical neighbors points to Jesus Christ's dismantling of sin and death. While David secured a kingdom's territory, Christ secures an eternal inheritance by placing every spiritual enemy under his feet. We live as citizens of that coming kingdom. We are called to tarry the heart of David, possessing both the warrior's resolve to fight sin and the worshipper's desire to lay every victory at the feet of the king.